We have the highest total of the 2017 NCAA tournament. This is Brad Powers in the pregame.com studios just off the Vegas Strip. We're talking Sweet 16 action. The South region, we have the number 2 seed Kentucky taking on the number 3 seed UCLA. Fez, who do you like in this matchup and why?
Contrarian pick going under 168.5. It is all about the epic, historic run we've seen of overs in this NCAA tournament. 34, 17, and 1 to the over. And Vegas has gotten shredded by the public, who's just backed the overs with both fists. And they're tired of putting out numbers that are too low and letting the public cash on them. The most specific game I can go ahead and mention, the Louisville, Michigan game opens 138.5. Over 139, 40, 41, all win. It lands 142, finally closes 143, and Vegas has said enough of this. We're going to deal these totals higher.
So you talked about the inflation of the totals lines. This total specifically, not only the highest of so far this year, but by far the highest total we've seen.
Yeah, in the tournament, let's put this in perspective. All but 2 games have had totals at 158 or less. The 2 games that were higher were 164, and this total is at 168.5, a huge adjustment versus the numbers they've been dealing.
Now, we've seen, you've already mentioned, the overs have cashed at a 67% rate. You would think with the public getting so much involved in March Madness, you'd already see some inflation with the totals as far as the overs. Now, I have my theories of what's causing so much of this high scoring, but I want to know, what's your theory? What is causing all these high scores?
Well, the eye test tells me the refs have been trying to control the game. They don't want any brawls during the NCAA tournament. They're calling ticky-tack fouls early. Teams are getting into the bonus. And that may have made sense early in the tournament, but now with big national TV games, it's very choppy. It's not good for the viewers to see a parade to the free throw line. I think a memo will go out. Hey, let's control the fouls and not turn this into a foul fest free throw shooting contest in the remaining games.
Now, I think we got to mention the first meeting between these two teams. They met back in December. The total on that one, Fez, was 175.5. What happens? UCLA goes to Rupp Arena. They upset Kentucky. They win 97-92. The over, even with 175.5, cashes by double digits. Any concerns, Fez?
No concerns, and it brings me to my second key handicapping point. These two teams are emphasizing defense. I don't care how they're playing in December. Recently, they're playing a little bit slower, but they're playing much more defense. In fact, the last 24 games for these two teams, incredibly, if you'd played every one of them under, you are 19-5 to the under in the tournament. You're 3-1 to the under. Kentucky games in the tournament have been averaging 138 points only.
Yeah, you mentioned lower scoring for each of the two teams' last 12 games. Much lower scoring. You look at the total scoring for UCLA, their last 12 games, down 11 points per game from the season average. You look at Kentucky games, last 12, down 24 points per game from what it was the first 24 games of the season. Now, I got to know here, is this a classic example of the bookmakers using the total season stats to set their line? Is that a mistake?
I believe that it is. And normally, the odds makers would go ahead and notice, hey, these teams have really changed their stripes. But because they've just been hit with a blizzard of overs where 2/3 of the games are hitting over, they're saying, you know what, we're going to use the season-long stats because the public's going to come in and bet this game over regardless of the number. We're going to deal it sky high.
And I like the contrarian style of this pick. Let's make it official.
Let's make it official. Vegas inflated the total in this game due to a historic overrun in the tournament. Overs have gone 34, 17, and 1. So Vegas set this total a full 4 points higher than any other total the entire tournament. But both teams are emphasizing defense. They've gone on a 19-5 underrun, and Kentucky games have averaged only 138 points in this tournament. The Fez math says go under 168.5. More videos at pregame.com.